Zemlinsky's Lyric Symphony, a title which I'm going to talk about because I don't quite agree with that title, with Claudia Boyle, the magnificent Irish soprano, and Roderick Williams, the artist in residence baritone, and the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra. Tonight, I just finished watching the live stream while lolling on the steps of the church of the Église Sacrée, the Basilique Sacré-Cœur, the Sacré-Cœur Church up on the hill here in Montmartre, with a full moon, which I think you can see a little bit of the light from it just above and beyond me. And it was an absolutely magical experience to be looking out over the magical lights of Paris with the light of a full moon pouring down on me, and this magical story by Zemlinsky. Claudia Boyle absolutely did not disappoint. She was absolutely superb. I'm going to talk about some other things first, but then I want to talk about. Well, I want to talk so exceptional about it. I'd call this a symphony. Or conception is symphonic. To me, I would call it a suite. You could call it a lyric. You could call it a dramatic lyric suite. But it's not a symphony. It doesn't function like a symphony, and it doesn't flow. It flows marvelously like a suite, like an orchestral suite, without separate movements at all. And alternating between the orchestra and then the baritone, the prince, and then the soprano, the woman who falls in love with him, and he falls in love with her. It's just, well, if you've ever been in one of those love stories where you just knew this was the love of your life, and you knew it couldn't be, then regardless of the details of the story here, this piece speaks to you. And I have to ask myself whether the poet who wrote the texts that were used, Rabindranath Tagore. I'm near a theater here, and there are going to be a lot of people who have just poured out of it. So it's getting a little noisy here, and I may need to relocate to have a little more calm and quiet. Let me move along here. So that's what it is. It's a dramatic lyric suite. Dramatic because in the recorded interview that went along with the performance, Roderick Williams talking about it, he said, you could perform it. And yes, you could. It's that dramatic. But it isn't completely dramatized, so I'd call it a dramatic lyric suite rather than a symphony. But that's me. But I'm commenting. This is how I'd talk to you if we were on the steps of the concert hall afterwards. So I'm sharing that with you. Then when it comes to the orchestra, I'm not very familiar with Bournemouth orchestra. I think they did a great job. There was a lot of flash in it, and there were passages where it needed to just flash. And then there were other very lyrical passages, which they did very well. So that was good. Now, for the singers, Roderick Williams, who apparently is the one who picked this and wanted to do it, and who's the artist in residence, and who's a very established figure in British music. I think he sang it well. I think he sang it just right. And there's a thing about this. Claudia Boyle, when she sings, I don't think you know where she's going to go with it and where she's going to end up. And I don't think she knows entirely What I want to talk about is the difference between Apollonian and Dionysian artist. Speaking from the point of view of myself as an obscure performing artist who never became famous, I believe I'm more like Roderick Williams, doing things right. And it's one reason why I think I enjoy living in Sweden, because Swedes try to do everything just right. And that is a way to achieve aesthetic beauty and truth. It takes discipline, it takes organization, it takes understanding, all of which you become quite good at if you're Apollonian. Apollo was the god of order and beauty, but orderly beauty. And then there are Dionysian artists, and they function more in a visceral way, I think. They plunge in, and their intuition carries them, and wherever it's going to take them, that's where it's going to take them. I don't know how to explain how there were certain, and I'm not a musicologist, so I'm not giving you a musical analysis of this piece or of the way that Claudia Boyle sang, but there were critical high notes in this piece. That one thing I love about her way of singing is there are some singers that have a very pure voice, but it lacks dramatic passion and larger resonance, but it's clean. And then there are other singers who they have a very dramatic, resonant voice, but the singing isn't clean. They're all over the notes if you really listen. And Claudia Boyle, I think, achieves just both in a certain way. There's a purity to her voice and to the way she sounds out all the notes. And yet there's a resonance around all of them. It's lovely. It's delightful. But on these high notes, when she would go to them, they were critical to the expressiveness of what's happening to her in this story. You didn't know where she was going to go with them. And I don't mean you didn't know what note she was going to hit. You didn't know what was the color of that note and the sound going to be, and what was it releasing from her soul, experiencing the story. And I have the utmost admiration for that kind of artistry. I'm not sure it's anything I could do. But when you experience it, like I said in the announcements I put out, but before this, encouraging people to watch it, I last saw Claudia Boyle 10 years ago in 2015 at the Edinburgh Theatre Festival, and she was playing a woman who checks into a hotel in this opera called The Last Hotel to end her life. And etched on my memory indelibly was this moment in the opera. It was not like an opera where you had like the 19th century operas where you have, okay, here's a recitative, and then here are our arias. No, there was singing all through. But there was this one thing that you could call an aria-like moment where she's on the phone talking to her husband. And I just, oh my, I've never forgotten it. It's if I want to be right in it now, I could be right in it. And again tonight, there was this, her willingness to go where the song is going to take her, and the courage. I've never been one who believes in people talking about needing to have courage to express an emotion or anything. Whatever I feel. I don't care. But no, this is different. This is an artist going to a place, and you don't know what that place is until you get there. And then when you get there, then you find out what it is. And that gives it a truth and a livedness, a lived outness, which is just amazing. That's it. And that was Claudia Boyle tonight, working with the text that she was, referring to, and she had it on an iPad in front of her. But wow. So those are my thoughts about it, and I hope it was not uninteresting to hear you, for you to hear a never commercially successful actor, and even less successful lyric tenor talk about as if he knew something about the different kinds of artistry. But I'm pretty sure those, basically, I'm just reflecting on something that the Greeks, the classic Greeks, understood thousands of years ago. I had classical training, so I know about it. So from a distance, just a heartfelt thanks to Roderick Williams for picking this piece out, and to Mark Wigglesworth for bringing in the sensational Claudia Boyle to take part in it, and to all three of them, and to Bournemouth for live streaming this and making it available to the global audiences. I'll stop now and just send a mwah to everyone involved, and especially to the what did I call it? The hauntingly beautiful soprano with an exquisite voice. Yeah, okay.